Historically, the Men's FIFA World Cup was a rotating privilege shared almost exclusively between Europe and the Americas. Despite the growing talent of African players in global leagues, the continent remained sidelined from hosting mega events of this magnitude for nearly 80 years. That cycle was broken through a massive diplomatic effort led by figures like Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu. Under the Kenako campaign, meaning it's time, the delegation successfully lobbied for a policy of continental rotation, securing a historic victory for South Africa over rival bids from Morocco and Egypt. To meet FIFA's standards, the nation underwent a logistical transformation. This included the construction of 5 new stadiums, the launch of the Gautrain high-speed rail system, and major upgrades to international airports in Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban. The successful opening of the tournament functioned as a counter to international skepticism regarding the region's institutional capacity. By delivering the infrastructure required for the world's most watched media event, South Africa demonstrated the organizational reach of an emerging economy. Once the matches began, the global audience was introduced to a highly specific local fan culture. South African supporters filled the stands with a vibrant intensity that stood in sharp contrast to the atmosphere of previous tournaments. Central to this experience was the Vuvuzela. These plastic horns produced a constant 120 decibel drone that frustrated international broadcasters and made on-field communication nearly impossible for players. While critics called for a ban, the organizing committee defended the sound as an authentic component of African football heritage. The official match ball, the Adidas Jabulani, faced its own technical backlash. Elite players like Iker Casillas and Julio Cesar criticized its flight as unpredictable, with some strikers comparing its field to a cheap supermarket ball. NASA-backed research later confirmed these complaints were rooted in physics. Because the Jabulani was constructed with only 8 panels to achieve extreme roundness, it lacked the aerodynamic drag needed for a stable arc, causing the ball to exhibit irregular knuckleball patterns mid-flight. Between the deafening stadium acoustics and the unstable aerodynamics of the ball, the 2010 tournament immediately began to dismantle traditional expectations of how a World Cup should look and feel. This environment proved catastrophic for the traditional football powers. Italy, the defending champions, failed to win a single game against lower-ranked opponents like New Zealand and Slovakia, finishing at the bottom of their group. France experienced an even more public implosion. The most unexpected figure of the tournament wasn't a player, but a cephalopod named Paul the Octopus. Residing in a German aquarium, Paul became a global phenomenon after correctly predicting the outcome of every German match and the final. The collapse of the 20th century football giants created a vacuum in the narrative, allowing these individual masterclasses and bizarre cultural icons to dominate the global conversation. 2010 signaled the tactical obsolescence of the traditional 4-4-2 formation. This was most evident when Diego Maradona's Argentina, which relied on individual brilliance rather than structural balance, was overwhelmed 4-0 by Germany's youthful, vertical counterattacking system. Spain's philosophy centered on constant ball retention, a style known as Tiki-Taka. This high-volume passing served as an offensive engine, while doubling as a defensive strategy. By maintaining possession, Spain starved their opponents of the ball needed to mount any meaningful attack. Look at this data regarding ball control. Spain recorded 5,966 touches throughout the tournament, the highest figure ever registered at a World Cup. Their strategy turned the pitch into a game of keep-away, allowing them to concede only 2 goals in 7 matches. However, the technical precision on the field was often undermined by human error. Frank Lampard's ghost goal against Germany and Luis Suarez's deliberate handball to stop a Ghanaian goal became flashpoints for global outrage. These high-stakes officiating failures broke FIFA's long-standing resistance to technology. The fallout from these specific matches accelerated the development of goal line technology and began the formal shift toward the video review systems used today. The final match was a direct clash of styles. Spain attempted to execute their passing game, while the Netherlands utilized a highly physical, disruptive approach to break Spain's rhythm, resulting in a match of extreme tension. This physical approach led to a record-breaking 14 yellow cards and 1 red. The most infamous moment occurred when Nigel de Jong committed a violent chest-high foul on Xabi Alonso, an action many believed deserved an immediate ejection. The deadlock held through 90 minutes and into extra time, preserved by a critical save from Iker Casillas, who diverted a clear Dutch goal-scoring chance with the tip of his boot. In the 116th minute, the pressure finally gave way. Andrés Iniesta struck a half volley into the far corner of the net, scoring the most important goal in Spanish history and securing their first World Cup title. Spain's victory was the ultimate validation of their associative play. They became the first European nation to win the trophy outside their own continent, doing so through a commitment to total ball control. From a corporate perspective, the event was a massive success. This chart shows the revenue growth for the 2010 cycle, which peaked at over $4.1 billion, allowing FIFA to significantly expand its global development funds. For South Africa, the legacy is a mix of world-class urban infrastructure and the continued challenge of maintaining high-capacity stadiums. However, the tournament is largely remembered locally for its success in fostering social cohesion. South Africa 2010 stands as the point where the sport's operational and tactical standards shifted. It proved a marginalized continent could successfully host the world's largest event, while forcing FIFA to adopt the technological and tactical innovations that define the modern era.